Hello again. As you will observe from the thumbnail to this video, I was this morning down by the Sugeni landshed. It's known as the Chain Bridge. It connects the towns of Buda and Pest. I went there to visit a memorial called Shoes by the Danube, which commemorates a massacre of Jews which was carried out near the Chain Bridge in 1944 by the Arrow Cross militia. There are quite a few Israelis there. It's a bit of a site of pilgrimage. I was prompted to think while there of the fact that it was possible for the shooting of Jews to be carried out quite openly in Budapest by those sympathising with the aims of the Nazis in a way which was not possible in countries such as Netherlands and Denmark. It will be recalled that in Kiev during the Second World War, the mass murder of Jews was carried out in a similar open way in the capital city. The shooting of the Jews at Babi Yar was clearly audible across Kiev, and no secret was made of what the Einsatzgruppen were up to. I find this puzzling, that in Western and Northern Europe, the murder of Jews was something concealed from the local populations because they would not have tolerated it. Instead, the story was circulated that they were being taken for resettlement in the East. Why such pretense in Amsterdam but not in Budapest or Kiev? This is where the difficulty comes in with the concept of an ethnically, nationally and religiously homogenous society. If everybody is Christian, then those who are not, whether they are Muslims or Jews, will automatically be outsiders. Such a society can easily become exclusive rather than inclusive. I do not say whether this is a good thing or bad, but it certainly is a thing. Once you identify Jews or Gypsies as being very much not part of your homogenous ethnic and religious group, then perhaps it makes it easier to mistreat or even murder them. Much the same thing could, I suppose, happen to Muslims, although there's been no history of that happening in Europe really since the time of the Ottomans. I have an idea that this kind of religious exclusivity is probably stronger in the more conservative and traditional forms of Christianity, such as Catholicism and the Eastern Orthodox Church, and least likely in countries where Protestantism, and in particular the Lutheran Church, is strongest. It's interesting to compare the position of the Jews, archetypal outsiders, in Hungary and Finland during the Second World War. In Hungary, where the Catholic Church was very strong, Eichmann had no difficulty in sending the community to the gas chambers. The Arrow Cross, a Hungarian force, joined in and murdered large numbers of the Jews themselves, and a ghetto was set up in Budapest. No secret was made of what was going on. 10,000 Jews were murdered in Budapest. They were shot quite openly. In Finland, on the other hand, where the Lutheran Church is the largest religious group, Marshal Mannerheim, leader of the country during the war, refused to allow Germany to touch the Finnish Jews. Himmler went to the country twice trying to get hold of the Jews in Finland, and he was sent off with a flea in his ear. Finland fought on Germany's side, but Jews were in the Finnish army, and there was no discrimination against them at all. 3 Finnish Jews were even awarded the Iron Cross by Germany, although they refused to accept the medals. In the winter of 1944, while the Hungarian fascists were murdering Jews openly by shooting them down on the banks of the Danube, right by the Chain Bridge in the heart of Budapest, Marshal Mannerheim was attending a service in the Helsinki synagogue. That is the hell of a difference. And the only way I can see to explain it is that the Lutherans were more tolerant of a diverse society than either the Catholics or those in the Eastern Orthodox Church. We remember too how the Danes smuggled all their Jews out of the country to Sweden to save them from the Nazis. The Lutheran Church was a strong force there as well. This then is one of the difficulties with a society which is not inclusive and which is ethnically and religiously homogenous. It need not be the case, but often is. There are, however, problems too, which most of us are quite familiar with, when a society is too diverse and inclusive. Whichever line you take on this matter, there are dangers. As is so often the case, you pays your money and you takes your choice.